mentioned several times that throughout the series that family is a government, and truly it is a government. And besides being a government, family is also a realm. Now, when we talk about family being a government, it's because man and woman, respectively, they are governments, they are realms of existence, and being realms of existence, they host life itself, and the life that they host is the individual. Every specific person is a realm to themselves and is a realm within themselves. And every realm has systems and structures. And we mentioned yesterday that the systems and structures that relate to human existence and individuals has to do with 5 systems of operation. And we talked about the educational, we've talked about the cultural, we've talked about the traditional, we've talked about the theological, and we also talked about the economical, and the 6th one is the social. And they are systems of operation, systems of existence and structures in which and through which and by which the government, that is the individual, finds expression, and beyond finding expression, the government, that is the individual, comes to its possibilities and its realities of existence within itself as appointed by God, within the ambit of the reality of the individual being an infinite actual potential state. So even when we begin to speak about family, you cannot speak about family and not talk about the individual, because it is the individual that forms what is known as family, and family begins with 2. It begins with the husband and it begins with the wife. And family is one of the ordinations of souls. God has ordained for souls to enter into earth through families and in families, through the government of family, and through the unified throne that is formed when a husband and a wife come together. Because when they come together, they form a unified throne. And that throne is formed when the 2 become one. And remember yesterday we said that the female is a throne for the feminine and the male is a throne for the masculine. And when they come together, they manifest in them becoming one. They manifest and reveal the totality of the reality of the throne of God beyond the male and female to the oneness of these 2 respective principles in God, because the masculine and the feminine, they are also universal principles and they are also universal creative elements. So a family is formed through the unification of thrones, and not only through the unification of thrones, but also through the unification of principles, that the masculine and female principle, they come together, and as they come together, they have a function, because principles are for function. And principles in this particular instance, when we're talking about the male as a principle and we're talking about the female as a principle, that is as a law of existence and as a reality of being, they have functions, and these functions are the consecrations of each and every single respective male and each and every single respective female in the general and in the respective sense. So when we speak about the female in the general, and in the general sense, is because the female has a general destiny. The female has a general destiny. The masculine has a general destiny as well. There is the destiny of the masculine in the general aspect, and there is the destiny of the masculine in the respective aspect, and there is the destiny of the feminine in the respective aspect. So there is a general aspect of destiny and a respective aspect of destiny. And within family, the general principle within the masculine principle, the general aspect of destiny plays out. But within the general manifestation of the masculine and the general manifestation of the female, there is a respective reality of the female and a respective reality of the masculine that plays out. Why? Because as much as we have the common destiny of the masculine and the common destiny of the female, we have the respective respective destiny of every female and of every male, because souls, as much as souls are souls, as much as souls have a general identity, souls have a respective identity. There is a uniqueness in every soul, and there is a uniqueness of every soul. And the uniqueness of every soul and in every soul determines the expression and manifestation and the destiny of that soul, either in the male or in the female expression of identity within the ambit of the becoming, within the ambit of the principles of soul embodiment, or the principles of the becoming of the soul, which determine the manifestations of soul in a becoming universe, as far as the masculine and the feminine principles are concerned. So principles are functionary. Principles functions. Principle determine function. So you find that the masculine and the feminine, they are not only thrones, but they are also principles that determine the manifestation of these thrones. And they are not just also principles and thrones. They are also powers. The feminine is a power in itself. The masculine is a power in itself. And when these two come together, it is the unification of powers. So when a family is formed through the masculine universal power and the feminine universal power. That when these two powers combine, when these two thrones combine, when these two principles combine, when these two principles interact with each other during intercourse and in intercourse after the protocols of marriage have been fulfilled, you find that is when a soul is attracted to earth, and that is when a family becomes formed. So a family is a unification of powers. When we talk about family, a family is a conglomerate of powers. It is a unification of powers. It is powers that have been unified. It is thrones that have been unified. And when thrones and powers are unified and they become one, there is always an amplification of power. There is always an amplification of power. There is always an increase of authority. And there is always an advancement of reality within the possibilities of the respective souls that have come together. Now, remember, we used to say that it is sex that makes two families into one. So when two individuals are coming together, they are having sex, they are forming a family. And as they form that family, they are unifying powers. And as the powers are unified, the functions of the powers are also amplified. And when the functions of the powers are amplified, the manifestations of the possibilities inherent in the female power system and inherent in the masculine power system within the general and respective sense is also something that is going to be amplified and magnified. So the possibilities of the female come alive more when there is intercourse, when family is formed, and likewise also applies to the male as well. So when we speak about family is not just also a principle of existence, because it is also a principle of existence and an offshoot principle of existence from the male and female principles of existence. Family is also a system of existence. Family is a system of existence, and being a system of existence, every system has its principles and every system has its structures. Now, the principles of the family, they are formed generally and they are also formed respectively. When you talk about generally has to do with the universal judicial systems and the universal principles, which are God himself in motion. We're talking about the male and female universal principles, that they are principles that govern the formation of families, but there is also the respective reality of each and every single male and each and every single female, which has to do with their value system, which has to do with their morals, which has to do with their virtues. When they come together, as we said yesterday, through the principles of each and every single respective person. So the female has their own government, and the government has principles, the morals that woman lives by, and same applies to the man. And when they come together, they form a new system that is governed by the principles of these two respective individuals. And when these principles come together, when these two principles come together and these principles do not agree, there is going to be friction. You see, friction is always friction is always a matter of principles. When principles do not align, there is going to be conflict. And those principles, they apply in the general sense and they apply in the respective sense. When I talk about the general sense, I'm speaking about the general sense in the family sense and the general sense as far as the individual in the family is concerned. So when these two people come together and they've had sex, or the two people have gotten married, what happens now is that they form a family. But when a family is formed, it is a realm of existence. And depending on the realms of existence that these two individuals existed in, when they come together, they form a realm, a family realm. And that family realm is going to be a realm where their respective realms of existence are going to converge and form a new realm of existence for that family in the ambit of the realms of Chronos. Because remember, when we talk about the realms of Chronos, we are talking about the different types and the different kinds of the will of God, and the kinds are contained within the types of the will of God. So if two people come together and they form a family, and the family that they have formed, the government that they have created, the coalition government that they have created, when they come together and they form this family, and they have formed the family in the realm of the flesh, but both of them exist in different kinds of realms of the flesh. One is in the acceptable realm of the flesh. The other one is in we can even say the other one is in the good realm of the flesh. When they come together, those realms are going to create a new realm of existence. And that new realm of existence is going to be the realm that the family is going to exist in. So both of them will create a government that will exist in a different sphere of existence. So that means that when they come together, they will be advanced within the realms of Chronos, within the realms of time, within the types of the will of God, and within the kinds of the will of God. They can come together and they form the anachronistic timeline. That is the worst realm of the flesh in the flesh. And they form that particular realm. That means that both of them exist in that particular realm. Why? Because when a family is formed, there is a shift of timelines and a shift in timelines. Because the types and kinds of will of God, they are also timelines. So the timeline you exist in and the timeline the person you're coming together to be with is existing in will determine the kind of timeline that your family is going to exist in. You see, you are born within a timeline and you are born from a timeline. And when your parents came together to form you, when they came together, they created a timeline that was in agreement or was convergent or was in harmonic convergence with the possibilities of your timelines of conception. Because every soul has possibilities of conception. And those possibilities of conception, there are different timelines and different intelligences. And there is the highest, best possible reality of conception for every soul. And there is the lowest, best possible reality for conception for every soul. But that will only be realized by your parents, depending on the realms of existence when they come together and depending on the intelligence that they are consummating when they come together. And the intelligence that they consummate when they come together, it will be the primary bond and the primary system, the primary intelligence system from which and through which the family is literally created and born from and born in, and it will be the intelligence that the family has been conceived in. So if they come together and they're consummating lust, the basis of the family, the intelligence from which and through which, by which, from which and to which the family will be formed will be lust. So lust will be the intelligence that has birthed the family. There are families that have been conceived and have been formed by lust. There are families that have been formed by anger. There are families that have been formed by bitterness. There are families that have been born by a moment of, as we often put it, a moment of weakness. It was a moment of weakness. It was a mistake, and both of them call it a mistake, but that mistake formed a family. That mistakes formed a family. You see, a family does not necessarily have to do with a child. The child is a benefit of the family. The family is formed, then the child comes from the formation of the family. See, there must be a family before a child comes into the picture. So the husband and wife, the moment they become one, when scripture say, and the two shall become one, it's not just a matter of the two shall become one flesh. It's also a matter that the two have literally also formed a family. They've created a new family. They've created a new timeline. They've created a new realm. And that realm that they have created, that realm that they have come into the existence of within the realms of Chronos, is what brings them to the possibilities of conception, within the possibilities of the conception of souls, and within the possibilities of their own respective individual existences and of their own corporate existences. Because the moment you become one, you form a corporate existence, and that particular corporate existence has its own system of attraction. It has its own system of attraction as far as the possibilities of existence are concerned, and as far as the birthing of souls and the possibilities and the possible realities of the birthing of souls are concerned. So you see also that a family is a system of possibilities. A family is also a system of possibilities. Why? Because each individual is an infinite system of possibility. So when two people come together, they form a greater and higher system of possibilities, because it is two systems of possibilities coming together, two systems of possibilities uniting. And when two systems of possibilities unite, they form a higher and greater reality beyond themselves, yet it is a reality that includes both, because both are the elements of that particular reality. So you find something interesting happens here, that they don't just create a higher system of possibilities. No, they also create new possibilities, because when possibilities interact with possibilities, there is the birthing of new possibilities. There is literally the creation of new possibilities. You attract possibilities from the unity or the union or the oneness of possibilities. When possibilities become one, they don't just amplify each other, but they birth new possibilities as well. The possibilities that existed will be amplified, but the amplification of these possibilities and the unification of these possibilities also forms new possibilities that were not there before. Literally speaking, it is like creating a new world. You see, so when a family is formed, in certain terms of existence, a new realm is formed. And literally speaking, in the spiritual realms, it is that a new realm has been formed. And that realm that has been formed is what we call now the realm that is family. It becomes formed. It has its own economy. It has its own economy. It has its own educational system. It has its own socio-cultural and traditional system. It has its own theological system. That is the expectation of the divine, not only the expectation of divine. That is the thing that happens when two people come together. Why? Because each and every single person has their own respective theological system. And the systems of individuals, they interact in the subtle aspects of the existence and reality of the individuals. So when two people come together and they form a family, they create a theological system within the subtle aspects of their mind, because it is the systems of the individuals interacting. The systems of the individuals will interact when they become one. When a family is formed through sex, when a family is formed through marriage and sex in marriage, they will form new educational systems. They will form new theological systems. They will form new socio-cultural, traditional, and economical systems. They will do that. Let me correct myself. Something that I said. Marriage is not what makes two families into one. It is sex. It is sex. So you find that when systems interact, they create. When systems interact, they create. Why? Because systems are creational in nature. Systems are creational in nature. Every system creates. Every system exists for the purpose of creation. Every system exists for the purpose of creation. So if you want to create anything in your life and you are unable to create it, you need to reflect and examine your systems. Why? Because it is through your systems that the realities you desire will be created, including but not limited to prayer. Why? Because prayer is a creative system. Prayer is a creative system. So when these two people come together and they interact, remember that they are energy systems. So when these two energy systems come together and they interact with one another, they form a new energy system. And that new energy system has different and diverse degrees of itself in itself that is itself. That reality of family as an energy system, that family that is created as an energy system, it has different versions and different possibilities of itself in itself that are itself, different and diverse electromagnetic wave points, different and diverse electromagnetic stations that have diverse degrees of energies according to the energy that has been formed and has been created by these two people that have come together. And because they are energy systems, they've created a new energy system, and that new energy system has new possibilities. It has new possibilities. And those possibilities in that energy system that they create is something that is known as a tertium quiddic energy system. Now, tertium quiddic simply means the following: that a tertium quiddic reality is a reality that is neither A nor B, but it has the elements of A and B. It's kind of like a child. A child is a tertium quiddic reality. Why? The child has parts of the father, the child has parts of the mother, but the child is neither the father and is neither the mother. That is the reality. So you find that this new energy system, it is also not just an energy system, but it is also an identity that has been created. Remember what we said, that you are an identity. The masculine is an identity, the female is an identity. So when identities come together, they create an identity. It is identities that create identity. It is an identity that manifests destinies, but destinies precede from identity. So when an identity, the masculine identity and the female identity come together, they create new identities. They attract new identities, new personalities, what we call souls. They attract, and the reason why I'm saying they attract and they create, it's because the child will receive 50% from the mother, 50% from the father. So there is that particular process of creation. We can actually call it a creative process, an offshoot creative process that occurs. So when that particular reality happens, and family is also formed, because family is an identity. Because when identities converge, they create a new one. So there's the formation of family, and family is an identity. Family is an identity, and an identity has its own destinies. So when two individuals become one and they form a family, they form a new identificational system. Family is not just an identity, it is an identificational system. That is why you find not even in the African system, whenever you look at every single one of us, we are identified by our family name. There is a family name, and that family name is a system of identification. And it's not just a system of identification, it is a system of possibilities. And being an identity, family is a personality. Family is a personality. Every family has its own identity. its own respective identity, its own respective personality. And that personality has expressions of itself in itself that are itself. That personality has its own destinies. That personality has different versions of itself in itself that are itself. Remember, the different types of the will of God, there are different versions of yourself. And the different kinds of the will of God within the different types of the will of God, there are different kinds of yourself within the different types of yourself. And remember that the same are timelines. So you find that you are born within a certain particular identity and personality of your family that is your family, and you are born within a specific version of your family. It may have been that at that time the family personality that you are conceived from and conceived in was in the good will of God, in the good, acceptable will of God. So you are born within that specific version of the family, depending again with the evolution process of your father and your mother. So you are born in the good and acceptable. Now, being born in the good and acceptable, you will begin, your platform of destiny will be the good and the acceptable. Now, if another child is born and the child is born in the good and perfect, that is within the type of realm that is good, and within the kind of realm that is perfect, within the type of realm that is good, that particular child will have a different platform of destiny and will receive a different reality of destiny compared to the other one. Why? Because they are born from two different versions of the same identity. This is why you find the children have different characters and different expressions of destinies. They have even different inclinations. That's why you find sometimes you find that the last born or the second born or the third born will be more gifted than the first in certain fields. Why? Because the parents evolved when they were having this other child. The family identity had entered into a higher dimension of itself. That means that the children that are going to be born and the children that are born from that higher version of the identity of the family, they are going to be higher versions. They are going to be higher versions of souls, because they will receive a higher portion of the possibilities of the family and a higher portion of the possibilities of the destiny of the family. Higher, by higher I mean more advanced and more developed. And it is actually by principle. There is a law known as the law of the first and the last, and the law of the last and the first. And Jesus said, and the last shall become first, and the first shall become last. That plays out in the family as well, because as the family evolves, it gives birth to higher versions of itself. So it's like every child that comes is an upgrade of the family identity and is an upgrade of the family destiny, because every family has its own destiny. Now, the destiny of families are formed by the destinies of the people that unite and create the family and form the family. So they form a new system of destiny, a new system of possibilities. And the interesting thing, there are possibilities in your father that are dormant and possibilities in your mother that are dormant. But the moment they come together, those possibilities are activated. And some are latent. They become activated. It could be lost interests that your parents had. Maybe one of your parents wanted to become a doctor. Maybe one of your parents at some particular moment in time wanted to become a priest, or whatever it is that they wanted to become at a certain particular moment in their life, but they never came to that reality. But because that desire resides within their mind, and that desire is a possibility within their mind, and that desire as a possibility carries a very high energy carries a very high energy and it's a very high concentration energy point within the various energy points of your father or of your mother, and in your father and in your mother. That energy will determine the kind of soul that they attract. So you find that energy, the possibilities of destiny within your parents, will also determine the possibilities of destiny within your family. So the possibilities of destiny in you will determine the possibilities of destinies for your children. This is how families receive their destinies. This is how souls receive their destinies. Because before a soul comes to earth, these systems must be in place. And the soul is coming. It's not coming unaware that it is coming. It is coming being aware that it is coming. And it is coming knowing where it is coming. And it is coming knowing what will happen where it comes. And the family destinies, they are prerequisites for the manifestation of the souls that manifest in that family. Souls don't manifest haphazardly, no. There are certain prerequisites, there are certain conditions of manifestation. And the conditions of manifestation, they include the intelligence of conception, and they include the possibilities formed in, through, by the family system. Once the family system is formed, its system of possibilities as far as destiny is concerned, it is going to attract a soul. So the activation of dormant inclinations, the activation of latent possibilities determines the destinies that will play out in the family. It determines the destinies that will play out in the family. Some of you, the destinies, not even some of you, every one of us, the destinies we pursue, they are within the pool of possibilities as far as the destinies of the identity that is known as family is concerned, as far as the personality that is known as family is concerned. You see, and beyond that, you also find something very, very fascinating. And this is the thing, that once a family has been formed, it's not simply also a matter of the possibilities of destiny, but it is also a matter of the formation and creation of intelligence, the powers of the mind and the powers of the soul. Because it is a personality, family is a personality, it has its own identity. And that particular identity, that particular reality of consciousness, because family is a layer of consciousness by itself and in itself, it has its own creative powers. As far as imagination is concerned, as far as thought is concerned, as far as intelligence is concerned, and as far as emotions are concerned, and yes, even as far as the 4 power units are concerned. Because there are 4 power units. The 4 power units, remember we've talked about the awakening power unit, we've talked about the elevating power unit, we've talked about the activating power unit, we've talked about the expanding power units. So family has its own power systems, has its own creative powers. And those creative powers and their functionaries, they depend again on how you have developed your understanding, how you have developed your imagination, how you have developed your thought, how you have developed and displayed the possibilities of your mind and the thrones of your mind and the throne of your mind that is your heart. That determines the possibilities of destiny that will be pursued within the family context, and the possibilities of destiny that the family is going to administer as far as its destiny is concerned. Because the moment a family is born and the moment the family identity is created, it begins to apply its destinies. It begins to apply its destinies in both parties. It begins to apply its destinies in both parties. That's why you see there is always a change of reality whenever a family is formed. A as far as destiny is concerned, even as far as intelligence, as far as imagination, as far as thoughts, as far as emotions, and even as far as the four power units of the mind and the throne of the mind are concerned, there is always a shift and there is always a change. Why? Because the family has its own thrones and it has its throne. There is the throne of the family, which is the heart. The family has its own heart, and there is the throne of the family. And then there are thrones of the family. And these ones must be dominated. These are the power stations, the central power stations of the family identity. They must be dominated. They must be dominated. And remember that every individual has their own possibilities of marriage. I've said this, that there is not just one person for you. You determine who you attract, you determine who you marry. Every version of yourself has its own system of attraction. If you exist in the perfect and acceptable will, the perfect type of will of God, and the acceptable kind of will of God, you will attract a partner based on that particular system of existence, based on that particular timeline. Why? Because timelines are electromagnetic. Attraction is electromagnetic. You attract according to who you are. Your energy system determines who you attract. So if you're in that type, the type of will of God you are in determines who you attract as well. So there are certain people we want to be with, but we've not come into higher versions of ourselves so that we can attract that particular kind of person. There is what you need to become so that you can marry a certain particular person. Who you are determines who you marry. Who you are determines who you attract. Who you are determines who you sleep with. So that type of timeline that the family exists in, when it has been formed, it determines the marriage possibilities of the family. Remember, the man has his own possibilities of marriage, the woman has his own possibilities of marriage, and they've come together within their possibilities of marriage, and they have actualized. They've come together even within their own possibilities of sexual intercourse, and now they have actualized. They've become a family through sexual intercourse, or they've become a family after they've followed the protocols, and now they've become a family in the right way. But this is the thing: doing things the right way does not necessarily mean that you have married the right person. You can marry in the flesh, and when you marry in the flesh, you've married the wrong person. And you attract more than one person in every single one of your timelines of existence. And that is why discernment is key. You attract someone based on your own, the structure of yourself in yourself, that is yourself. But you also attract someone based on the family layer of consciousness that you have. You receive attraction systems from your parents. In those attraction systems from your parents, they have the possibilities and the potency and the power to determine who you attract. Your attraction system is a convergence of your respective attraction system and of your parents' attraction systems. Your parents' attraction systems are meant to amplify your individual attraction system. So you find that family has its own marriage destinies, and the marriage destinies of a family are formed by the marriage destinies of the two individuals that come together and form the family. And they not only they don't just form them in the sense of active, because we have active marriage destinies, and we have dormant marriage destinies, and we have latent marriage destinies. All of those depending on the version of the family that the family is. Is the family the good and acceptable, or is it the good and the perfect, or is it the good and the anachronistic? Or is it the good and the good? Because there's the good realm, and there's the good kind of realm within the good type of realm. And that is all. That in itself is its own marriage destiny and its own system of attraction. So besides just being, that it has its own identity system, that it has its own marriage destinies. And the moment a soul comes, it comes with its own marriage destiny as well. And it receives marriage destinies from family. And it has to learn how to navigate. This brings me to my other point. Family is a realm to be navigated, and it's a realm to be mastered. That is why scripture says you must live. You cannot live unless you master it. You must master your family realm. You must master your family destiny. You must master the destinies of your family. You must overcome the realities of your family. Why? Because your family also has an abnormal faculty, that is the faculty of the flesh. The family also has its own flesh tendencies. Because when a man and woman come together, if they come together under the flesh, they have the possibilities of the flesh that they produce. If they come together, they still the possibilities of the flesh that they will produce. Because every one of us, we are fighting the flesh, and we have to dominate the flesh. You have to dominate sin, because sin is also seeking an authority in the family realm. And sin can be enthroned in the family. Particular sins are enthroned in the family. That's why every family has its own government structure. Every family is a government, but every government has its own structures of governance. And their families ruled with lust. Their families ruled with sexual immorality. Their families ruled by phantoms, the spirits that deal with drinking and illusions. And those spirits corrupt destinies. Their families ruled by witchcraft. Their families ruled by pornography, ruled by theft. Their families ruled by other types and kinds of corruption, including the spirits of lying and all those kind of things. Why? Because when the woman bedded the man, or when the man bedded the woman, the whole interaction was purely based on lies and manipulations. So that means that phantoms will have an authority in that family. The spirits that deal with illusions, they will have authority in that family. They will be enthroned because they are part and parcel of the formation of the family. And this is how spirits have influence and authority over families. The intelligences at play during courtship, the intelligences at play during intercourse, the intelligences at play that bring both of them together. Where you find people lying to each other. Oh, they lie, they mask, they have this performative identity. And you see, when you have a performative identity, you are being a hypocrite. You are operating through deception and in deception. So the union, the formation of the family is going to be based entirely on the platform of illusions, on the platform of performative identity. It is nothing more than just an illusion. So that means that deceptions and lies are going to be realities that will dominate that particular family. And the intelligences that rule the individual determine the timeline from which and in which and through which and by which the individual's dream. Because we have our respective dream realms. If you exist in the perfect will of God and you exist in the good kind of will of God within the perfect will of God, your dream world, that is your dream world. You have types of dream worlds and kinds of dream worlds. So when the two people come together, their types of dream worlds and the kinds of dream worlds within their type of dream worlds forms a dream world for the family. The family has its own respective dream world, and the family layer of consciousness in yourself, which is a version of yourself in yourself and is an aspect of yourself in yourself, it has its own dream world and it dreams its own dreams. And those dreams that it dreams are part of the dreams that you dream. So family also sleeps. So when you are sleeping, your family is also sleeping. And your family is joined together in that reality of the identity that is family. But let me tell you something, you see. You can be that, of course you exist in the family realm, but you see, individuals in a family don't exist within the same realm in the same realm. They don't exist in the same types of realm, and they do not exist in the same kinds of realms. They don't. And again, family is a realm to be navigated. So it's a realm to be navigated. You must navigate the possibilities of the family that you are born in and of the family that you exist in. You must rule and dominate your family. You must. Because part of ruling the self involves governing every aspect of the self, including the family self, and the kind of realm that the family exists in, and the type of realm in which the kind of realm the family exists in. You must come to higher possibilities within your family realm. You must. If you are to fulfill your destiny, you must. If you are to realize the fullness of God, you must. If you are to realize the creative powers and the creative potencies in the creative powers, the universal creative powers, imaginations, thoughts, emotions, intelligence, and will, if you are to realize the fullness of those powers, you must. Why? You see, an abundant life. When Christ said, I came so that they can have life and have it more abundantly, let me holler at you and tell you something. You cannot have an abundant life unless the systems, the powers through which and in which life functions are maximized and optimized. When Jesus says, I came so that they may have life and have it more abundantly, he just said this in the other layers of reality. What he was saying is, I have come to restore the functionality of the powers that I have put in man, so that the powers I have put in man can bring man to the life abundant that I have appointed for him. An abundant life is arrived at through the liberation of the universal powers that God has put in man. As a man thinketh, so is he. The family realm has its own thought system. As a man imagines, so is he. The family realm has its own imaginative system. The family realm has its own understanding, its own intellect, its own reasonings. It has its own inclinations, its own propensities, its own destinies. It has its own social system. And you must gain dominion over every one of these systems. You must go to the throne of your imagination. Dominate it. Go to the throne of your intellect. Dominate it. Go to the thrones of your reasoning. Dominate it. Go to the thrones of the body. Dominate them. The family realm also has its own body. Body, I'm talking about body. This body that you have, a layer of your body. See, the body is in layers. You have, within the body that you have, there is a layer of your body that is your mother, and there is a layer of your body that is your father. And that is what we call, again, the family body, because the family has its own body. As much as you look the way you look and you look distinct from your parents, we also know that you have features from your parents, and we also know you have features from your parents' parents, and so forth and etc. Why a family has its own body. And that body has its own creative powers. That body has its own channels of life. Your body has its own channels of life. So the body that you know as yours is a unified body. It has layers. It has aspects of itself in itself that are itself. And if you have slept with someone outside marriage, that person also becomes part and parcel of the layer of your body. The body is in layers. So if you have slept with 6 people, they are part and parcel of your body. You have added 6 layers to your body, and you've added 6 layers of your body. And now, those people, if they had slept with other people, the other layers of the body that you add from the layer of the body of this particular person. And those layers come with different energy systems. And when those energy systems contend with each other, sicknesses are produced. You see, family illnesses don't begin as family illnesses. Family illnesses begin as an individual illness. They begin, that's how they begin. That's how most of them begin. Now, you see, when you realize this and you begin to exercise dominion over your family, you begin to rewrite the possibilities of your family destiny. Because those destinies are part and parcel of your destiny, and those destinies can be hindrances of your destiny. Why? Family has its own system of destiny and has its own possibilities of destiny. It has its own timelines. Sometimes the struggle you are having as you grow, they are not struggles of your own doing. They are struggles of the timeline you are conceived in. They are challenges of the timeline you are conceived in. They are challenges based on the type and kind of parent your mother had become or your father had become, the type of version of themselves and the kind of version of themselves within the type of version of themselves they had become. And that's why you begin to face certain particular challenges. Because you are born in a certain timeline. And timelines determine existence, and timelines determine possibilities. Timelines determine states of existence, timelines determine possibilities and the challenges that are inherent in actualizing the possibilities. That's why it's very significant for you to dominate your family realm. You must dominate it. Now, being a government, a family has its own rulers. And we can go back historically, because family is a very dense and intense governmental system. Very dense and intense. We go back to the Tower of Babel. And in the Tower of Babel, new families were formed, so to speak. New languages, new tribes were formed. And that was the formation of sub-governments. And those sub-governments developed their own identities and their own cultures and their own ways of life. So every individual can trace their family government all the way back to the Tower of Babel. And from the Tower of Babel up to now, how many people have come into existence through a certain particular family that was formed then? And if we move back retrospectively, we will come to Adam and Eve. And when we come to Adam and Eve, we come to the kings of kings as far as family is concerned. Because a family has a governmental structure. There are kings in the family, and there are kings of kings in the family, and there are thrones of thrones in the family, and there are thrones. There are lords of lords in the family, and there are lords. There are those who are sons in the family, and there are those who are sons of sons in the family. There are those who are gods in the family, and there are those who are gods of gods in the family. There are those who are powers in the family, and there are those who are powers of powers in the family. There is a soul that can be born in a family, but that soul has been born as a power in the family and as a power of the family. Souls have different identities within the context of family, and souls have different identities within their respective realities, and souls have different identities within their origination from the realms of God that a soul has originated in. Identity is multi-layered. Some of you are thrones in your family. Some of you are powers in your family. Now, the powers of a family can concentrate in an individual according to the orchestrations of the divine and according to the judgments of the rulers of the family and of the rulers in the family. There is an individual in a family who is the stronghold of powers in the family. And there's another one who is the stronghold of thrones. Then there's another one who's the stronghold of kings. There's another one who's the stronghold of gods and and all that kind of stuff. People are different kinds and different types of strongholds in the family. There is one in your family who rises as a god. And there's one in your family who rises as a lord of lords. In all of this, it is within the ambit of the destinies of the family. And remember that every individual is either male or female. And the male has its own general and respective identity, and the female likewise. So the general and respective identities of the male and female, they interact with each other when family is formed, and they create new general and respective destinies for the male and females to be born in that family and from that family. That is why you find sometimes in a family, women have a certain particular reality, and it is common throughout. And you find that the male also have a certain common destiny. As much as there is respective, there is a pattern. And when you see a pattern, know and understand that that is a reality that the government has passed as an absolute, but it can be changed. Because you have absolute systems of destiny and probable systems of destiny. There are certain possibilities of destiny that become absolute because they have been chosen. When you choose a possibility and you choose to actualize it, you make it a must, so it becomes absolute. But if you do not choose it, it remains a possibility, but the one that you choose, you make absolute. But there are those that are absolute in the family, and they cannot be changed. No matter what, they cannot, and they can never be changed. For example, you find that there is a family because of the faithfulness of an individual who walked with God. For example, you find in the family of David. The family of David is a family where governance and kingship is a must. Kingship was made absolute by God in the family of David. And so you find sometimes in a family is always just lawyers, or doctors. It is because it was made an absolute. It was made an absolute by the governments that govern that family. Remember I've said governments, not government, because we have hierarchies of governments. And the hierarchies of governments have influences in what becomes a possibility and in what becomes an absolute. Do you know, by the kind and type of life you live, you can make certain particular destinies absolute in your family. There are destinies you can make absolute in your family by the kind and type of life that you live and the choices that you make. You determine your family's destiny by word of mouth. I will teach you how to write scripts of destiny for your families, because in essence we are consistently writing scripts of destiny for our families by the thoughts, by the imaginations, by the choices we make, by the spouses we marry. We are sealing possibilities. We are sealing attraction systems. We are sealing weaknesses and we are sealing strengths. You can determine the kind and type of destiny your generations will have. You can even change the type and kinds of souls you attract in your family. And let me say this, after every 4 generations, in the 5th generation of every family and in every family, the government of that family is restructured. That is by law, by universal law. There is always a review. And every generation within the family must have its own remnants. But the remnants that come in the 5th generation are always more advanced and higher than the remnants that preceded that particular generation. The 4 generations were not greater than the 5th. The 5th becomes greater, and that is by law. And not only by law, that is by consecration. As a matter of fact, every soul is meant to give birth to something higher than itself, either in righteousness or in wickedness, according to the cosmic principle of increase and multiplication. You are always advancing, therefore that which you birth will be more advanced than you. That is by law. Now that is it about family. And I'd like to open the floor for questions. Do you have any questions? Any question at all? All right, I'm seeing we don't have a question, so let me wind up by saying this. One of the ways you can determine what you birth and the destiny of what you birth is by prayer. You go to God and you say, if you desire, and your desire is authentic and pure, be like, God, I desire in my family that they should rise a certain particular breed of souls. And you pray honestly and your desire be pure. God will answer that prayer, and you will have programmed the destinies of your generations for days to come. The other one is by developing your creative powers. Develop your creative powers. Do not ignore your interests. Do not ignore your interests. If you write, sharpen it. Why? What you develop plays a part in the degree of creativity that your kids will have. Develop your interests, develop them, grow them. Why? Because you see, abilities remain in you according to how you have developed them, and they will be transferred according to the level and according to the dimension and realm of development that you have developed them. Develop your intelligence. Read, study. It has an effect. You are structuring your DNA, and when you structure your DNA, you are structuring destinies. Some of us, the things we eat, we're just eating here, there. You're just eating everything. You're creating the gene of obesity in the family. One of the ways through which family is fought is through genetic mutation. And genetic mutation is not rocket science. It's so simple. What you watch reconstructs your DNA. What you listen to reconstructs your DNA. Who you sleep with reconstructs your DNA. If you do fitness, you're structuring your DNA. To get into fitness, structuring your DNA slowly and slowly. Let me tell you a story as I wind up. I was recently with a group of kids, and one of the kids, I know the father of these kids, and the second last, and she's the second last child, and it's a she. She's very athletic, And I was looking at her and I was like, wow, this girl is very athletic. And I remembered that the father was athletic. And the father really developed that particular thing, that particular interest until a certain particular level. Then he did not develop it. But now the child has come. The child is very athletic, loves anything to do with fitness. She's not struggling. She's so natural. These are realities of existence, and they cannot be otherwise. It is a must. You cannot expect to birth wisdom when you've lived in foolishness. And if it happens, it will be by the mercies of God, so that God can redeem your bloodline from foolishness. Let me say this also about blood. You see, blood is an aspect of consciousness, and blood is one of the channels of life. Blood possesses life, and the life that is contained in blood, it is light made manifest within a certain possibility of itself. It is energy made manifest within a certain possibility of itself. Language hears because language possesses consciousness. So if you sleep with someone, literally speaking, through the transference of consciousness, their blood becomes one with your blood in the subtle aspects of the layers of the blood. God bless you so much. I pray that God will enable you, God will give you wisdom, God will give you knowledge and understanding, that God will advance you beyond what I have spoken into so many other things. I pray for your dream world that God will show you what you need to deal with. I pray that you gain dominion over the realms of your family. God bless you.